This morning, 4 men from Metro Atlanta are accused of breaking into the home of Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders. 3 of those suspects are in custody here in Georgia right now. The 4th suspect, we're told, is still on the run. Surveillance video shows masked suspects entering Sanders' Ohio home in November through an unlocked door. The suspects made off with $200,000 worth of stolen goods, including luxury bags and a ring. Shedeur Sanders is the son of former Falcons star and current University of Colorado head coach Deion Sanders.
They target high-end individuals that have a lot of money, and they go to their houses, they break in, and they take anything of value, and they go and sell it. They know that they're not home. They know that people aren't usually at their houses, so they're taking advantage of them being of some type of stature in the community.
Officials believe someone higher up pulled the strings, telling them which houses to hit. The suspects are currently awaiting extradition back to Ohio.